Hope your bumbles are ready to get rumbled, because I'm the narrator today. Okay, yeah, take it away, other guys.
What's up? And welcome back to the Figgleheads podcast. Uh, I'm Dan, as usual, for the third episode. You heard me in the two last ones here with my co-host Aiden.
What's up? I
Copying
am
me.
Dan. I am a Dan, not as usual.
Oh, you're still the same person. Your voice sounds exactly the same.
What are you talking about?
We're the same person because we're not recording this at the same time as the other one.
No, we're definitely we've
Different day.
changed. We've changed since then.
We're new people in a week.
In a week, yes. In 1 week, we've.
He got me to like anime in a week. That's why.
Listen, I'm just saying. One Piece, dude. It's so good. Just got to get to episode 800. I'm kidding. I'm not even there yet.
Therein lies the problem. Therein lies the problem.
It's been good since episode 1. I'm on 750. Trust me. I'm not even done yet.
Fuck.
I'm not even done yet.
How do you even draw out a series to be that long? That's ridiculous.
Okay, I can tell you exactly how. It's because the action scenes, the action bits take a lot of episodes, and also there's just a lot going on in every episode. Also, not every episode is 20 minutes because they do recaps and intros, so most episodes end up being like 15 minutes, sometimes a little less.
It's still a lot.
There's a lot of talking and a lot of needless fighting, and there's a lot of stories happening at the same time so they can bounce between each other without you getting bored of one.
Oh,
It's beautifully crafted to be able to make it so not every episode is boring. I will admit there is one like arc that's boring, but other than that, everything is amazing. And I'm enthralled by it. I'm gonna go watch some after this podcast, actually. Fight me. Fight me.
You don't want me to. I'd kick your ass.
That's what you think. I just have to last 15
Guys-
seconds. I just have to last 15 seconds. And then your endurance will be down, and I'll just kick your nuts. Boom. Strategist here. Boom.
Yeah, but if you don't. Can't say the same about somebody else in this episode who got his shit rocked, but that's for later.
Listen, I'm just saying, the battle at Gettysburg, the Confederates versus the Union, right? The Confederates destroyed the Union on day one of the fight. They had them completely sandwiched, but they were idiots and decided to retreat. So the Unions could regroup, and the Unions ended up winning because they had a better strategy. If the Confederates had just pushed a little farther, they would have won Gettysburg and probably eventually the war. But because they made the decision to pull out, yes, then the Union won, which is why I'm saying it doesn't matter how strong you are. If you last past the beginning and have a good strategy, you win.
Well, hate to break it to you, but you probably won't last.
Guerrilla warfare, buddy. I'll kick you in the shins like a scooter and then hop to the other side of the ring.
I've been kicked in the shins so many times.
That's not really something to brag about.
I'm not used to. It's not a brag. I played indoor soccer, and indoor soccer is a lot more like hockey than it is soccer. I mean, I guess you'd have to know the exact type that I'm talking about because I guess the big field soccer is inside. But no, I played on it was really small. It had the walls and glass that you would see on a hockey arena, and I got slammed into walls. I would slam other people into walls, knock people over. It felt a lot more like hockey than it did like soccer. Because in soccer, you see somebody get tapped in the shins, and then they flop, and then it's a red card.
Yeah.
You were allowed to go ham on people in the league I played in, and it was awesome.
Hey, yo.
I said what I said. I'm not going to take it back. I'm committing.
I committed too. Don't worry, we both committed in that. So, as you know, I'm going to be moving in a few weeks, so I had to do some cleaning. And guess what one of the objects I found while I was cleaning?
The crossbow thing.
What?
Oh, I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
I found the lower half to Boom Jet from Skylander Swap Force.
Yo.
One of four that I got, including the that was including the starter pack.
Nice. That has made its way onto every episode now.
What? Skylanders?
Skylanders.
Yeah, it's gonna continue to get to every episode. That could
You
be
know what
our
else
thing.
has? What else has? You know what else has?
Don't you fucking dare! I swear to God.
A miniature refrigerator.
Choking on my root beer in a glass bottle right now.
That you did not get out of a miniature refrigerator.
Actually, I got it out of a big refrigerator, which can hold more, by the way.
Yes, but it's not in your room.
Also, my sister has a mini fridge, and because she's moving, she's gonna be moving somewhere where she'll have a big fridge. So I'll be getting the mini fridge. So I will have a mini fridge.
Push, push. I had one first.
Whatever. I knew. You know, I told my mom that. I was like, I was telling my mom, I was like, I need to get a mini fridge so I can beat Dan. And she was like, what? And I was like, I just need a mini fridge. And she was like, you'll get your sister's. And then I'll be like, yeah, but he still got his before mine, so it doesn't really mean anything. And now the first thing I hear is, I got mine first.
Yep.
And it just goes to show.
You're late to the game.
You're late to the game.
What?
Everyone's a winner, baby. That's the truth.
Aren't
Wait, what is
I
that?
was like beginning of. I don't know. I do not eat silica gel. They look like Orbeez or something you would put in a airsoft gun. ASMR now. Okay,
I need to send you a something. So I was playing. I need to send you this Fortnite loading screen. This of course will be on the podcast for obvious reasons.
Instagram.
Or did I say the podcast?
You did.
This will be on the Instagram. You'll be able to see it. It might be a little weird though because they make you put stuff in square format, which is stupid. But here, look at that loading screen. Just they thought that this was acceptable for kids.
What the fuck is happening?
Just
What the fuck is going
focus on the properties and proportions of the character in the focal point of the loading screen.
What the fuck?
You see what I'm talking about?
See exactly what you're talking about. I see what you're talking about.
Like, that is, like, there are multiple aspects of that that's a little weird to put in a kid's game. And the dude on the left is like, what the fuck? Like, he knows.
Yeah.
Like,
Just saying, the majority of people who play Fortnite are 12-year-olds. They're starting out the hormonal stuff.
I remember
Just saying.
back when Fortnite lost, like, what was it, 90% of their revenue in 2019. And the reason the game was kept alive was from 12-year-olds when they were making skins specifically to appeal to them because, like, of horniness.
Yeah.
Now this character, this drawing is the literal embodiment from facial features to the like, okay, I shouldn't say from head to toe,
Lower half.
Yes. Well, not not the lower half that Dan sounded like he was referring to me, so I'm clarifying. Also, what is up with the lids on those bottles? There's like 2 straws, but one of them is small. Like, why is orange tea coming out of the grape tea? Like,
I don't know. It's just the color of the cup. I don't know.
it definitely isn't, because they have that tea as the contrails.
I don't know.
Neither do I, which is why I'm asking.
Pick it up with Epic Games.
I'm gonna have to. I mean, it's not as bad as the little whip thing. Do you know the little whip thing?
Uh,
Let me recite it to you. So there's a character named Lil Whip, right? They came out with a song with him over the summer. Let me just read you the lyrics. Lil Whip, Lil Whip, Lil
it's a
Whip.
rap.
Take your pick, just a lick, just like this.
Okay.
Whip it up, Lil Whippin' in your
Okay.
cup. Lil Whippin' drippin' flavor, that's what's up.
Hey, we're done. We're done. We're done.
That's in Fortnite. And I have that saved as a copy pasta, by the way. I'm gonna copy pasta it to you because everything in between those words just makes it so much better. This is gonna be the description for this podcast episode. That's it.
What the? What the? What the? What the? What the? What the? Yeah, what? Sh- what?
Drippin' broccoli flavor.
Yeah, what?
Isn't that?
I don't want to see this anymore. All right, I'm done. I'm done with this. Anyway. As anyway, segue into topic. We all know Fortnite's for children.
Uh-huh.
This is this episode for children, but about children. Specifically us when we were children.
Yeah. I loved being a kid.
As did everybody, I'm sure.
Not everyone.
I mean, not everyone.
Some people did not have a fun childhood.
Some people didn't.
And
I think I did.
I like to think I did too. Well, it had its moments, sure, but so did everyone.
Yeah, everybody had their moments. There, called a brat. Brat was like the worst thing you got called then those
Brat.
days. Now it means absolutely nothing.
Being called a brat.
Being
There's
called
there's other stuff than being called a brat that annoyed me. It was the arguing with someone and then when they can't come up with a reason they go, "You know what? I'm done. I can't with you. I'm done."
because I said so.
Yeah, it's like what's the damage?
Yeah.
You were just
Yeah.
fine arguing with me a second ago, and now you can't come up with anything, so that's my fault. And then
Yeah.
you say something along those lines, and and you get a dude. I told you I'm done. I told you I'm done. Stop arguing with me. It's like
The sounds of it, that's my victory.
yeah, that's me. That's the equivalent. That's the white flag. The second I hear I'm done, I win. You accepted defeat when you said you're done. And that's why my family hates when I argue with them.
I just simply don't argue with my parents unless I think what they're saying is absolutely wrong. I argue with my brothers. I will not hesitate to argue with my brothers.
No, me neither.
For obvious reasons, the whole sibling rivalry stuff.
Mm-hmm. See, here's the thing: is I will like argue with people, but I do it in a weird way because the way I see it is I don't like when people like slander people or talk bad about someone when they're not there to defend themselves. So I act as like the stand-in for people who can't defend themselves. So if someone's just berating someone's like opinions or something they did, I give them the benefit of the doubt and defend them for them. In a way, I don't know. Like I was in the car with my sister. It was so funny, and she was talking about toxic people on Twitter, and I was like 90. She was like people. I was talking about how people were getting silenced, and she was like, only toxic people get silenced. Or we were talking about Elon Musk owning Twitter and it going downhill, and she was talking about how it was toxic, and I was like, well, it was toxic beforehand, and something unfolded, and she was like, I said something along the lines of, well, if toxic people are getting banned on Twitter, then 90% of Twitter should be banned right now. And she said, "Oh my God, shut the fuck up. You probably love Andrew Tate or something." Like, like it was really funny.
Oh, that's good. That's funny. Oh, that's hilarious.
Isn't it? That's the kind of dumb stuff I did when I was a kid, as in
What a
2 months ago.
What a comeback. I love when you piss someone off so much and they have absolutely nothing else to say because they at that point they know they're wrong but they don't want to admit it.
That's what it's like being a kid. Also, when you're a kid, you think you're right about everything, so you argue everything.
Yeah, I know. Or you just proceed to hurt yourself in various ways.
See,
That's what I did. Quite a bit.
I get a lot of when I'm arguing with someone. I also get a lot of Why do you always need to be right? And it's not a you. I always need to be right. It's you just haven't proven to me that I'm wrong yet.
Yeah, yeah. Understandable.
It's like if you haven't proven to me that I'm wrong, I'm still gonna think that I'm right. That's how it works.
Yeah. I understand that mentality completely. Then you just got the stubborn people who you can prove them wrong so many times and they just will still stick to their guns.
Flat earthers.
Pisses me off. Pisses me off so much. Anyway, shall we really get into it? I guess I have. When I said I hurt myself, you also hurt my brothers. You ever actually have any younger brothers? You have sisters.
I do.
So you probably didn't do the same stuff I did.
Oh boy.
I mean, yeah, just have childhood WWE siblings.
When I was younger, I didn't see gender, so yes, I slammed. I'm not gonna finish that sentence because
Yeah.
I just no. I I wrestle no. I'm not gonna finish I'm not gonna finish this thought. I'm not gonna finish this thought. Oh my God, are you okay?
There's no good way to say it. Oh
I
my God.
Me and my sister would beat each other up, but not to the point of bruises.
Okay, I got you.
There we
No,
go.
We would. Me and my brothers would.
My
Me
parents
being
would.
the oldest, being the biggest and strongest, had the time of my life.
I can imagine it like Punchies in regular show.
I didn't watch regular show, but I think I've seen clips.
So the two main characters, when
Mordecai always wins punchies.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Mordecai says punchies. They take turns punching each other until one of them gets hurt, and so Rigby punches him. Nothing happens. Mordecai punches Rigby. Gets sent across the room.
Yeah. That's how it felt. We have like. I don't explain what they are, but they're little chairs that we got. Like our grandma got them. They're not really very little. They're fairly, like they're big enough for a child to just sit in them, right?
Okay. I had one of
They're
those.
not like small, but yeah, they have our names on them. And we would use them as like throw them at each other and swing them around by the handles. Mine was like bigger than theirs. I had the biggest one, and I was the only one who was able to lift it and throw it, and it would just knock everyone over. It was the greatest ever. It was so fun.
I have punched my sister in the face before, but that was when I was way younger.
Well, yeah, I have done that, but it wasn't like out of. It was just out of like anger. It wasn't out of playfulness.
Yeah, no, it was like you keep doing that. I'm actually gonna punch you in the face. Yeah. And she was like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I'm not kidding. Yeah. She was like, blah, 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 blah. And I was like young though. I do not domestically abuse my sister. I do not domestically abuse my sister. Making this
get rough with his sister. He promises.
Whoa! Hey! I do not do anything physically damaging to anyone in my family, and I have not since I was below the age of 13. Nay, below the age of 10. I was single digits last time I physically hurt someone in my family. Intentionally.
I can't even say it.
There's no good way to say it.
I know. There is no good way to say.
You could say, "Oh yeah, I used to wrestle with my brother all the time." You can't go, "Hey, by the way, I was wrestling my sister." You just can't say that anymore.
You can't say that anymore. Because there was a time where we used to say that all the time. Every other sentence, we'd say we were wrestling with our sisters.
I mean, there was a time in history, but we're not going to talk about that.
No, we're not. Anyway. Yeah, it was just fun. And I could also lift up, like, the youngest one and throw them around, like, on a couch. That was always fun. But my youngest brother, who you have met, I think, like, one time.
I've met all your brothers.
Yeah. Him being the youngest, being a part of those sorts of games has made him into a monster.
I don't know. Is he the one that I saw when we were volunteering? Was he the one that you had to go pick up, but then you didn't?
Yes, he is a monster.
Oh boy.
Because he could literally not win, so he would have to, like, he's the one always just getting roughed up because he's the smallest.
That was his training.
Exactly.
You fool! You were training him.
Now he gets the second oldest one. He gets him by the neck and can put him in a chokehold. He's a monster.
Oh my god.
I have videos of it. Like, they were WWE. I had to break it up. I had to just pick him up, throw him on the couch. He wouldn't do it to me because I can just wing him around the room. But
he's in elementary, right?
yeah, and the second oldest will go for his youngest brother will go for his knees, not get him on his knees or whatever, and then grab him by the neck, chokehold him. He'll hold him there. Won't be able to get out of it. He is a little monster. He's a demon. He created a monster. He's going to be the toughest kid in high school. Swear to God.
I hope he pulls you'll talk about that story later.
Oh yeah. You'll find out, everybody listening, you'll find out what he's talking about. I promise.
Oh, it's a lovely story. Why don't you tell it now?
I tell it now because this is because it's a fairly funny story. I don't know, because there's other stuff. It's probably one of the better stories. I think I'd rather save it for later. We've only been like 20 minutes into this, right?
Let's find out. 20, yeah, roughly 20.
20 minutes around there. Do you have any just the stupid childhood stories you got? Stupid things you did when you were a kid?
I do have some stories. One of them I talked about on my in a YouTube video, and it was actually a COD video. I'm not. It's hard to explain. I used to have this idea where I was like, what if I just did the COD narration style YouTube videos, and it didn't work. But I'm gonna talk about my elementary school gang war.
Oh, yeah.
This is a phenomenal story, okay? I love telling this, and it always kills. So, or at least people act like it killed, you know? So...
I'll be the one to judge.
Yes, you will. So, we played the typical boys chase girls, right? Where
The opposite. I just have to say that.
Really?
It made me feel wanted, actually. Yeah, continue.
So except we didn't do it differently. It was more of the other schools. I've talked to other people, and it's the boys chase the girls around the playground, and the girls never get caught. No, we caught them, and we'd throw them in a quote unquote jail cell that was underneath the playground big thing. We had a 3-tier playground with slides at the top and stuff. It was a crazy tower, right? Anyways, they'd go underneath, and they'd have to be rescued, and sometimes the boys would switch sides to rescue them, right?
Okay.
So my buddy Carter was our head. He was our leader. He's also insanely famous, and his dad owns some huge company, literally a construction company that built almost everything in our entire area. Any housing has probably been headed by his dad's company. He's rich, filthy. He's the Rothschild of our country, or of our area, you know?
Yeah.
So he was the leader, right? And then everyone else was kind of following suit. And he had his close friends who I'd call cadets. I was like one of them, but like every cadet kind of had like their own group of people following them. I didn't. I was like a cadet with like two people. Everyone had like five or so people following them. I had two. Logan and Dante, I want to say. Dante's one of the friends that I mentioned that I ran in contact with during Shower Thoughts, and he didn't recognize me, despite the fact that I lived down the street from him. I have more stories about him later, though. Good ones. So one day we're all sitting at lunch, and we were all in the same class, I should mention. Almost every single friend of mine was in the same class, and our lunchroom was divided by classes. Oh my god, is my mic cutting out?
Okay,
This
yeah.
happens. So lunch is divided by tables, by classes. So my class was sitting at a table, and I remember I was going to throw my food out because we didn't go at the same time, but this was like a chain today for some reason. So one person would go, and on their way back another person would go. It's just how it ended up coming out. So I remember I was walking to it, and my buddy Ethan, who was Carter's top cadet, was on his way back, and he's like, "Did you hear Logan's making his own group?" And I was like, "What?" And he was like, he's gonna call it the Logan Gang." We were in 3rd grade at the time, okay? So it was the Logan Club and the Carter Club. And some people left, including Ethan. Ethan was really close friends with Logan. I actually I met him at the end of last summer, around the same night as the bug story. Actually, it was earlier in the night, but I'd run into him. He was in that friend group camp. I think I mentioned it during the bugs thing that I ran into one of my friends. That's Ethan. That's what I'm talking about right now. I love when these stories tie together. And he left Carter to be Logan's top cadet. And I was like a floater because I was with everyone, and everyone had chosen a side except me. And Logan's side had more members at this point because new stimuli, and they were warring with each other and taking parts of the playground as their own, and people were fighting each other, not physically.
Awesome.
And the girls were still being chased. It was like Hungry Hungry Hippos, but with girls on the playground. And, eventually people longed for something else, There had to be something to stop this, put an end to this war. And you know what happened?
What happened?
A new club emerged. Hell-bent on peace, and it was nicknamed the Aiden Club.
Yo!
Now, this is where the story gets good, because now we have 3 sides coming at you. We got the Logan side trying to take over the Carter side, and we got the Carter side standing his ground and taking back his territory. And then there was me like, let's talk it out, guys. And then they'd sucker punch me and be like, screw you, F you, you effing itchy old toothpick eater. Like child, things. And some people moved to my side because they believed in me, which was kind of nice. Even some of the girls were allying with me, like they'd give me information on whose territory was whose and who's warring with who at the moment. And so I had a good sizable amount of people, and most of my people ended up coming from Logan. So Logan's group was fizzling out slowly, and eventually it faded completely. And then it was just Aiden versus Carter, which was so weird because I was hell-bent on peace, and I ended up just wiping out one of them. It was like Risk. And it all came to a climactic conclusion after days of warring. All of us went to battle, kind of like the scene in Infinity War when Captain America and Black Panther run ahead and they're slamming on the like Outriders or whatever their name was, and it was like that huge collision. It was like that, or Civil War. Civil War is better. This was literally a civil war. We were like in the airport like the Avengers were, and we all ran at each other and like slammed at the same time. We were like air punching, obviously, but it was like me and Carter, and it was crazy. And it all came to a conclusion when everyone was starting to admit defeat because recess that day was ending. And I went over to Carter and I was like, I was like, look around, and there were like people like laying on the floor, like kind of like hopping backwards, laying down like they got shot in a war movie.
Greatest game of pretend ever.
I know. And this kid, and I looked over at Carter, and it was like Metal Gear Rising. I looked over at him, and I extended a hand. Like I put one hand over my belly, hunched over, and I was going like, ah, ah. And I held out a hand to shake, and he shook my hand, and we called it a draw, and that was the end of our gang war. And
That is awesome.
I know it's a killer story. And I tell
I,
it a little differently every time because there's so many details to remember.
that sounds like a fun, like if you were able to turn it into a game, a fun game to play now,
Mm-hmm.
with foam weapons or something.
Um, there were a lot of double crossings, and those posts that have been coming up now since the Ant-Man trailer made the Yellow Brick Road cinematic cover. The me and my buddy on the last day of school finishing our 10-year recess storyline, and it's like the fighting with
Yeah.
Yellow Brick Road. Like
Yeah.
that brought me back to me shaking Carter's hand at the gang war.
That's awesome.
It felt awesome.
You want to know my recess storyline game?
I would love to.
We play pretend. Now, it wasn't like original. We would play Mario, like Super Mario Bros. On the playground. Which you want to think is very much. I got to. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna save that for later. But okay, so you want to know who I was?
You were probably Luigi or Mario.
It was Bowser.
Oh, okay. That's actually so much more fitting for you. Actually, never mind.
So, you want to know who Mario was?
Who?
You're gonna think this is so funny. Nobody else is gonna understand, but it was Nolan. Nolan was Mario.
No way.
Yeah.
That's where his protagonist complex came from.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know you guys would say like you would like air punch and stuff, but we would fight.
I should ask him about
Like-
that.
I don't know if he'll remember, but I don't even know if I had anybody on my team.
You don't need it when
think
you're
I was
fucking
just-
Bowser.
But Bowser still has like minions and stuff.
You don't need him.
I didn't, I guess. But Nolan was Mario. This is the only other person who I remember who they were. I know there was a Luigi, there was a Princess Peach. There were a few girls who played as like
Princesses?
all that, like, yeah, that stuff. There was a Luigi, there was I think there was a Toad. There might have been a Bowser Jr. There was a Donkey Kong, yada yada. But long story short, I would like all of them would go at me, and it was so much fun to feel like I was fighting them all at the same time. And I don't remember, my memory of this is very foggy because it was so long ago, but like there was like like parts where I would capture the girls and like put them on the swings is what I did. And the only way they would be free is if this is not real cheesy, but this was like this was elementary school stuff, was if me and Nolan were fighting and our both of our punches connected, if our hands hit each other.
Did that happen?
It did happen.
Oh, I was looking for a GIF that like made me imagine like that came into my head. It was a clip from Ninjago when they're going to storm a tower and they're all surrounded by it was like the back-to-back thing we talked about last week. But we were like in a circle. They're in a circle fighting endless waves. And I just think about like another good one would be like the beginning of Thor Ragnarok when he's like destroying all of Surtur's like soldiers. Like that,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
beating him up.
That's how I felt. Like while I was Bowser fighting all of these other guys, but let me see if I can find the closest similarity. Oh my god, what the hell just happened? Closest similarity. I just said closest similarity to what I mean by, how they would be freed. I think this would do it. So it's Avengers in I almost said Infinity War. Jesus Christ, Age of Ultron. It's not gonna let me do it, but it's when Hulk is fighting Hulkbuster. And then
Oh,
their
and they
punches
slam
collide.
hands. Oh
Yeah,
my
and there's
god.
a shockwave. That's what would free the girls off the swings. Well, maybe we'll put this on Instagram.
Okay. Yeah, go
But
ahead.
that was the game mechanic for freeing them, like getting them off of the swings, and it did happen too, like a few times.
That's
But it got so like nobody ever got hurt. I just want to say this, but like we were so freaking crazy and like fighting that the teachers ended up banning it.
I've
We
been
weren't
banned from
allowed to play
playground stuff.
Mario. We weren't allowed to play Super Mario.
Mario was
Which-
banned.
It was. It was crazy.
Um,
I, I don't even. It was like a multiple day thing. Like it was played for months.
do you know the book
It was
Amulet?
awesome. I know the book. I didn't read it.
So me and my buddies had a playground thing too. Carter was the one that introduced me to Amulet, but I introduced it to my friends when I moved. I don't have any contact with any of these people, but I moved to another town. I don't consider this my childhood, but it was something we did on the playground. We played a small one. We played FNAF World, which is weird. We didn't. I don't even know. It worked for like a week. I don't even remember how we did it. I just remember people were like, "I want to." Someone was like, "I want to be Nightmare," and I was like,
Yeah.
he was like, how does he move? And I showed him the movement, and he started like air humping, and he was like, ah, look at me. Cause like, hold on, let me see if I can find. Look, this is what I tried to replicate, but he just started air
Oh.
humping. Anyway, the other thing with Amulet, we had an Amulet storyline on our playground, and what our idea was, we all had amulets, and inside of them were the characters from the stories, and our idea was like we were like in the future after all these characters had died and their souls were in the amulets, and we were like fighting each other to protect the souls in our amulets. But it got too much because there was like that one kid who would like constantly like knock like role play, knock you to the ground, and then push his fist like he was holding a weapon or something. He'd like push his fist into your chest and go or like make it sound like he just stabbed you and blood spilled out. So the teachers were like, that's too violent, stop playing. But we did have one of those.
Yeah. Never got violent like that, but it was just like actual contact. Nobody ever got hurt. We made sure like nobody got hurt, but it was like I did push people to the ground. Oh, it was fun. Yeah, that's a story. I got banned from playing Super Mario Bros. On the playground in elementary school.
It's a killer story though.
I think it's a pretty good story. I didn't go into this episode planning to speak about that. It was your story about the gang that reminded me of the whole thing. I had just completely forgotten about it.
Well, that amulet thing reminded me of it based off of yours, but no, that gang war is like the thing that makes me wish I was a kid. Was that gang war? Because I wish I could do something like that again. Like I always think about like I wish I could have like some imaginary roleplay thing between my friends like we did in elementary school, but everyone's too mature to be able to do something like that again. But that seems so much
Yeah.
fun to be able to, like, and imagine now we can drive and we can go places, so we can have territories that are actually big.
I honestly wouldn't mind doing that. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't want to be like, make it a whole fictional world and like get really into like playing pretend. But I think having like a game where it's gangs and everybody has a role and each team has like a goal to do something to the other team. I think that would be really fun.
It would be great. It feels like it would be a party thing though.
It does.
Like a party, like you'd hang out at a party or like a birthday party. It'd be like
But
it's basically capture the flag.
honestly, we could do that. Let's do it with the group.
Yeah,
Let's do it with the
crew.
group.
Let's do it with the crew.
With the crew. That'd be so much fun.
You want to hear of another gang?
I got invited to join an actual gang once. That was a really weird experience. It didn't happen when I was a child, so. Got invited to join a gang once. Wait, what?
Um, I was I'm trying to find like a picture because I'm about to talk about something, but I need to find like a
Eh. Ah,
sorry, it's a bike design I'm trying to find.
is it a tandem?
No, wait, a tandem?
That's the one with the two seats.
No, so it's like a okay, it's like a Harley Davidson motorcycle where you have like the pedals ahead of you and you have like the Harley Davidson handlebars and you like stretch your legs out as opposed to down. And it's like it's a long motorcycle. So there's the seat that you can like lean back in or like not.
Yeah.
I think it's basically a Harley Davidson motorcycle. It's a Harley Davidson motorcycle, but it's a bike. And one of my buddies had these. It was Dante. Dante had one of these. And I can't find a picture of one anywhere. I think it was custom built, which is why I can't find a picture anywhere. Um,
Hmm.
but he had one, and so we decided that we'd make a biker gang. So
Ah,
Logan from earlier, he was a part of it. Me, Logan, and Dante were like a trio in second grade, and then my neighbor David, who I actually still I have his contact information. He's friends with one of our other Daniel friends, because they lived in the same neighborhood, and a kid named Evan, who I don't have any contact with, but I know him because like the thing I remember about him is he's missing a nail on one of his fingers.
oh,
But we were just a biker gang, and we'd all go around on our bikes together, but we were not allowed to leave our like street. Kind of, we were allowed to go around a loop, and then there was like a second loop we could go around because that went to Dante's house. And other than that, we were really not allowed to leave. And there were also some girls down the street from me that were crazy for me, but I didn't know it because I was young, so I didn't understand the concept of like love. But they were like crazy for me.
I wish.
That's what my dad says apparently. Like he's like my dad tells me that they were crazy for me, but I don't know.
Oh, I never really do know. See, so
Hmm?
trying to think of other things like games that I've played. I don't know. There are a bunch of other games that I've played on the playground, but I think that I think it's time for the story. You think it's
Okay.
time for the story?
Um, I want to
So
I want to tell one story because it pertains to Dante, and then I'm done with him. So I want to tell it because I was gonna plan on telling it with the biker gang.
Okay, go ahead.
So his house, we never went inside. I've never been inside his house to this day. His front yard had a tree, and from this tree hung a punching bag. That's not important, but it helps me visualize. So
Huh.
this was after a really fun day. Like we were at my house running around in the sprinkler with like David and Evan. I should mention Evan didn't live in our neighborhood, but David's mom babysat, so they knew each other, and so they'd all come down to David's house sometimes, or I'd go down there, and then eventually I introduced David to Dante, so they started hanging out. So me, Dante, David, and Evan would all hang out together, and so we were at my house with a sprinkler shooting water guns, and then we'd go home and get dry clothes, and then we'd go down to Dante's house and hang out, like kicking around balls in the yard. And the house next to him was abandoned, and so they had a crabapple tree, so we'd throw crab apples at each other. And if you we'd go into the back porch of the abandoned house, and you could see like a birthday card on the ground, and there was like dirt everywhere and stuff. Like it was crazy. It was definitely abandoned for a long time. Someone moved in now. They're probably haunted. But like I'm just saying, like that's one of those days where if I was living that today, I'd have one like well, actually let me just keep telling the story. So because what I'm about to say is exactly the feeling that I'm going to describe. I remember
Okay.
we would climb the tree sometimes, right? We'd never go up past the initial branch, and I used to actually be physically fit. So I had this phase where I was physically fit and young, and then I got really fat, and then I slimmed out when I grew from shooting up from being tall, but I didn't work out to balance that out, so my muscles got really weak. So now I have no strength anywhere. But back when I could have strength, I climbed a tree. And we never go that tall. Eventually, the sun was setting, so David had to go home because Evan had to go home, and his mom didn't want them to leave one without the other, and you know the gist. So it was just me and Dante. And right before I was about to go home, Dante was getting called in for dinner, and I was like, hey, can we climb all the way to the top of the tree? And he was like, yeah, sure. Dante never climbed to the top of the tree, but I did, and I was like, just climbing up it. And this is the only tree I've ever been able to reach the top. But I remember getting all the way up to the tree and poking my head above the tree line. I was maybe 40 feet off the ground tops, maybe 50, but I could see almost the entire neighborhood from the top of that tree. And the sun was setting, so the sky was like the orange haze, and it was like a room temperature day outside, but there was like a breeze, like it was slightly above room temperature with a breeze, so it just felt extremely nice. And it was
I
like,
don't know the vibe.
sorry. It was one of those vibes where I felt the wind blowing, and Dante was right below me because he didn't want to go up all the way. But it was a beautiful sight, and it was like one of those moments where I just took a deep breath and was like, I'm gonna remember this day.
What type of vibe that gives me?
What's that?
The same type of vibe as now listening to Counting Stars. When I hear that song, I just think of childhood days like that. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I think of the song Stressed Out because that also came out during that time too, not because of the nostalgia. Like that song's about reminiscing about the past, but when that song came out, I was in the past it was reminiscing about. And that's also like its own existential thing in its own right.
Yeah.
But yeah. Like that's the summer. Oh god, what was it? 2012 or 2013. It was probably spring 2013. When that happened? No. No. It was the beginning of 3rd grade because the leaves were turning orange. So, whatever songs came out in late 2012, like the end of 2012 summer, would be whatever vibe that I would have listened to back then.
Yeah.
But no, like that.
Damn.
Like that's one of those times. Like when I started camping, I'd walk down to the beach to watch the sunset. I'd sit on the guard seat and I'd just sit until the sun was off in the distance enough for me to be satisfied. But I'd just kind of sit there and just vibe for a bit. It was nice. Actually, when me and Dan were there, we sword fought with swords. We sword fought on the beach. It was fun.
I want to have a beach trip with a bunch of friends.
That's on my bucket list, baby.
Love to do it. I can't wait for spring. I can't wait to actually start going outside and having it be where I don't have to wear a bunch of layers to stay warm.
Speaking of which, if there's snow, when I plan on doing a huge get-together, I'm going to have everyone bring their snow stuff because I want to not only have everyone build a snowman, but I want us to have a snowball fight.
That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
God, I'm now nostalgic. Supposed to be its own episode, not this one. I'll move away from the nostalgic feel. And I tell the story now.
Go ahead.
It was kind of hyped up at the beginning of this episode. So, you've heard it before. I'm going to try to explain it differently than I have before. Shoot, my headphone just hit my microphone. But this was 6th grade, which is probably the oldest I'm gonna go on these stories. It was, what is 6th grade? 6th grade was
2016.
Shoot, yeah, 2016. But I'm trying to think of exactly how old I was because of like the. Had to have been 11 then. So. I was 11 years old. And there's this kid. I don't want to say names. You know who I'm talking about. Basically, he's a bit of a prick. And he was being a prick on the school bus. And so he was kind of like, I told him to shut up. knowing him, like, he just doesn't shut up. He won't shut up. So he was like, yeah. You know what his main comeback was that doesn't make any fucking sense? He goes, at least I have legs. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I'm standing. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? I'm standing up right now.
At least I have legs. Who does he expect that to work on? Is he gonna see an amputee? Someone who has suffered a severe accident and can no longer walk, and his first instinct is, at least I have them. What?
Yeah, I know. I swear to God, I'm not making that up. That is what he said to me. And I'm like, dude, I'm standing up in front of you right now. The fuck are you talking about? And it got to the point where I pissed him off so much that he just pushed me. So I I wouldn't say I enjoy fighting, but I enjoy the thrill of a fight. So when somebody starts it, I have the golden ticket to do whatever I want. So I did not let this moment slide, I guess. So I grabbed him by his hair, and you know how on the bus there's like, oh come on. Oh, this bit of us laughing will either get cut out or you'll see what I'm laughing at on Instagram.
Oh, you'll see it. They'll still definitely see it.
So, you know how on the bus, the seats are like the tall. It's hard to describe, but the part that you lean on is like tall, and the seats are close together, so you can't even like kick your feet up because you'll just be putting your knees on the seat in front of you. Mm-hmm. I took him by the hair and by his head. He was sitting to the left of me. I had my right hand in his hair, grabbing his hair, and my left hand on the back of his head. And I just started slamming his head repeatedly on the seat in front of us.
God, I love that story.
I wouldn't stop. Like, I did it a few times, and then I just went and sat right back down in my seat. And this was the only time I have ever gotten detention. You want to know how I got detention?
How?
I didn't even get caught in the act. The bus driver didn't see it. Oh, nobody told on me. Nobody did anything. The school principal heard that there was something else that happened on the bus, so they went on the cameras and just ended up seeing me do that.
Oh my God! What
it was
what
a
did
complete.
They think was gonna be there? Like, what were they looking for originally?
They don't know. Apparently, some kid did some trick with a string. That's all I remember.
You're doing magic on my school bus? Excuse me?
Exactly.
And now a kid's bashing another kid's head in? What?
That's what they were looking for, but they just ended up seeing me do that to the kid. And if it wasn't for the stupid kid who did something with a string, I would have completely gotten away with it.
Now, here's the question. One, props to the kid for not ratting you out for beating the fuck out of him. All right? Honestly, it takes a lot of balls to not go that low enough to just rat someone out when you lose, because that's something a lot of people do, especially in school. All the way up until
his ego is too big.
Well, it could be that, but it also could be just he just didn't want to. So I kind of respect him for that. Counter argument: I'm curious if he reported that a kid did something on the bus so that they would look at the cameras and see you. I wonder, would he be smart enough to have done that?
I don't know.
Because that's also what I'm thinking.
But this same kid, that's not like the only time I've ever fought him. There have been other moments where I've fought him, but every single time I did was like he's the type of person to just try and run away the whole time and taunt the whole time. He won't actually fight. He won't actually throw a punch because he's too scared to get hurt.
Excuse me, I do it so that it makes them look like the bad guy. Even if I'm the one who started it.
He does it because he wants to be a little shit stain.
Fair enough.
Well, because when I try to ignore, like this has happened on many occasions, I have tried to ignore him, and he will push me repeatedly until I swing, and then he'll start taunting and start running away. I'll ignore him, go back, then he'll start pushing me again.
Fair enough.
On the bus, he just had nowhere to go, so I don't know. Maybe I broke his nose. I don't know. I'll never know.
That's when you start doing it back to him, and if you complain about him doing it to you, if he says no, he started, just check the cameras. You know, start
Yeah.
doing it back to him. Either he's gonna tell on you, and then it'll be his entire thing will be uncovered, and you'll both have to be punished, or he'll just be punished for it. Either way, he gets
Yeah,
punished,
I know.
and you may not.
Yeah, I know. It's just annoying because he was just being a little puss, even though he was trying to be all tough.
Yeah. Imagine he's listening to this right now, like, holy shit, they're talking about me.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll even know it was him because I have. You know what? I'm not gonna talk about it.
Some years from now, some dude is gonna be listening to this, and he's gonna hear you be like, you know what his catchphrase was? At least I have legs. And this guy, he'll jump up and be like, how did they know? How did they know? This story must be about me. And then he hears about the head getting bashed, and he's like, holy shit! What? Who is this guy? I just like the
I
fact
don't
that
know if
there's
they'll ever say it because they were the loser in this story.
yeah. I just hope there's at least someone else out there whose catchphrase is "At least I have legs," because I cannot.
I
get
don't
over
think
that.
anybody else on this earth will have that as a comeback. It was the stupidest comeback I have ever heard in my life, and it was one that he wouldn't let go. Like it was one that he would say again, like at a different point in time.
Should I tell him
Like,
that
dude,
tomorrow?
No,
Like
you should not.
next time I'm in an argument with him, should I say "At least I have legs" and see if he does anything?
Oh, that would be really funny. Actually,
Let's see what he'd do. He'd be like,
That would be really funny.
"Who are you?" Email him
God.
anonymously. Email him a link to this podcast.
Yeah. Well, he'll know it's me.
He'll know it's me too. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
I probably. I mean, I have so many videos on here with my face.
Yeah. That would explain it. Oh, I love my childhood stories of me beating the fuck out of somebody who deserved it.
I don't really
Yeah,
have any
yeah.
beat up stories besides, what I mentioned earlier.
The gang.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay. No, I also pushed my sister down the stairs. I forgot to mention that.
Oh.
I was expecting
No.
I watched so much Tom and Jerry. I was expecting a cartoony role. So I was she was in the bathroom, right? Yeah. This is what I just glossed over that. No. Okay. So she was in the bathroom, right? She was taking a bath because we were too young for showers at the time because we're not manly enough. So she was just getting out. So I was hiding on the outside. So I should mention, you walk up the stairs and in my old house, you walk up the stairs and immediately to your left is the bathroom. So I just stood a little past there. So the second she came out, I was like, I knew, I understood. So I was like, hey, Dad needed
Understood
something.
the assignment.
Yeah, I blocked her off from her room and said, hey, Dad needed something, making sure that she wouldn't be like, all right, let me go get changed first. So she walked out of the shower, and I was like, hey, Dad needs you. So she turned around, and, she did the thing kids do where she stood at the top of the stairs and, leaned over the stairs holding onto the guardrail. And she was like, what's up, Dad? And he was like, what? And then I just shoved her. Let me tell you, she went fucking flying. She did not touch a single step on the way down. Fucking soared onto the ground below.
No reason to do that. He just wanted, it's a science
I
experiment.
thought it would have been a Hanna-Barbera. Like...
I love how you fucking planned this out. As a kid, it was like, I don't have a reason to. I got nothing better to do. I'll just shove my sister down the stairs. Hey, Dad needs you. What's up, Dad? Huh? Ooh. Oh, that's a good story. Are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I was finding this.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, fuck.
Yeah.
Ah, Christ, fuck.
Downstairs.
That's funny.
It was freaking awesome.
Oh, God. What?
This is a better one. Imagine that, but it was all airtime, bro. She got better airtime than I do in Skate sometimes. Skate 2, exactly, precisely.
Yeah.
It was
got
fucking
another-
awesome.
Another stupid thing that I did. It might be as good or as worse than this. Not as good as worse. Jesus, might be better, might be funnier. Also, might be like a worse thing to have done to somebody.
How do you get worse than pushing someone down the stairs because you think they'll roll like a Yogi Bear?
I will, I will tell you. All right. So, Manhunt was a big thing that I loved to play. When I was a kid. Get big groups of kids to play it. You know what Manhunt is, right?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Basically zombie tag, but also hide and seek at the same time.
That reminds
and
me of a
at
story.
night. But so I was it, and this is a fairly quick one. But I was like looking for him, and I heard something. So I looked around, nobody was there, and then I heard something again. I looked up. It's in a tree,
Oh boy.
and this tree was like over like a swampish area. This tree was also like not a very thick tree. Want to know my solution?
What did you do? You shook
I
it.
violently shook the tree.
Oh my god.
And when I tell you that they splat into the swamp area, the little pond, they
No.
fucking splat into the pond.
Holy shit. Okay, you reminded me of a manhunt story, and it's not really a story, it's just something that happened. So,
Right.
anytime people talk about their house being in the middle of nowhere, I think about my cousin's house, because I actually lived with them for a while when I moved to where I am, like the area I am now. I was actually originally living with them for the summer, like the first half of 6th grade. And so their house is pretty simple, right? It's in the middle of nowhere. It's like on a strip of houses, and then other than that, it's just farmland on both sides. So it's almost like it's like Route 66 or whatever the town was in Cars. It's just nothing, and then a strip of houses, and then more nothing.
Gotcha.
And so we were in like the heart of that strip, but not. So we had a barn on a road on like a maybe a 200-foot like driveway, and then the house was to the side of the driveway, and there's no garage. It was just in the barn, and behind the barn was a sizable like a sizable cornfield, maybe like a few thousand square feet. Nothing too big, but nothing too small. And then if you went to the left of that, let's say you're on the road, you're facing the barn. Behind the barn is that. To the left of the field is a huge green area leading down to like a pond for fishing. But it's a huge stretch to get down to the pond. Like it's like a quarter mile or something. Like it's a long stretch to get down there. We were playing manhunt one night, and I was a hider, and I was too scared to go in the back where all the bigger kids were. And at the time, these bigger kids, I was like first grade, maybe younger. So like when I said I was too scared, I was too scared. These kids were in maybe first or second grade. And I remember like nothing really bad happened, but I was one of the last people alive. So I was doing the typical like hiding at the car, but every time someone approached, I just went around the car. And sometimes I'd hop to like the bushes near the barn, and sometimes I'd sit around like on the patio in front of the house because no one ever went there because it was like right at the road. It was like right at the out of bounds range for that area. So no one really went there. And eventually I was literally, when I say I was one of the last people, this was a group of maybe 50 people, and I was one of the last 3. And I remember I got spotted, and I was running down the path towards the road, which was where the out of bounds ended. And I remember turning around, and there were like at least 20 people chasing after the second grade me, but they weren't running. They were like walking, because it was the oldest kid who was obviously in charge. It was his idea for everyone to walk slowly with their arms forward like a zombie. Now would be a good time to mention, because of the lighting behind them, it was pitch black because it was Manhunt. It was pitch black. Because of the lighting, it was just silhouettes to me. I could not make out a single face, a single person. It was just a bunch of black figures that I could tell were people slowly zombie shuffling to me. I was frozen in place. And I was frozen all the way to the point where he slowly walked to me and put both hands on my shoulder, and I almost screamed.
Oh my god. How'd you do that to some kid? Oh my god.
I mean, he was not much older than me. He felt older because you age really quickly when you're younger. So he
Yeah.
felt a lot older to me than he really was. But you know how that goes.
Yeah. That's. Jeez.
But no, that's one of my fondest memories. Honestly, I loved that happening.
Is that?
Huh?
Why is that?
It's just a great story, and I don't like horror, but that horror running through my body, the adrenaline of, like, just imagine being on a gravel road in the dark with a single lamppost and just 17 silhouettes like zombies shuffling towards you, and you're so frozen to the point where you can't move, you're just staring at them getting closer. Like, that adrenaline, I felt like I was in a zombie movie on a farm, kind of like the first season of The Walking Dead, or was it the first? I can't remember. Just waiting to get eaten. Like,
I wouldn't like that.
I didn't either, but like looking back at it, that was such a crazy moment for me. I also just love it when a bunch of people come together to do something great, and that Manhunt game was awesome.
I love Manhunt.
We should do that.
Oh, fuck. Need a lot more than 9 people to do Manhunt, though.
12. One tagger, 12 people. It'd be easy.
So then 13.
What did I say? Well, I meant 12 people in general with one tagger. And we just do a bunch of games.
Gotcha. Oh. Maybe. Mayhaps.
Do you have any other stories? Because I have one more. This one is a short one I'm really fond of.
Is that short one you're fond of?
Yeah. If you don't have any more, I'll go. But if
You can tell it. You can tell it.
Do you
I might have one more.
Okay. So this is second grade, and I bragged to people about this, so you've heard this before for sure. Second grade, I'm in gym class. My gym was a little weird because of my elementary school. It was like small but not small. So we had I was in second grade, and there were other third graders there. So it was the second graders and the third graders. And sometimes the gyms would be divided, sometimes they wouldn't be. This time it wasn't divided. And they were trying to demonstrate to us something that... okay, I'm jumping the gun a little bit. First they had us pick a partner. I picked my buddy Josh. We were like inseparable in second grade. Just wait, oh my god, I've been calling it second grade this entire time. I'm realizing I wasn't friends with Josh in second grade. So it must have been third grade and with fourth graders. But Daniel was there for this. My friend Daniel, so you can ask him, this is true. So
Yeah.
They had us get with a partner, and I got with Josh. At least I think it was Josh. I think it was whatever, it doesn't matter. And they were like, okay, rock, paper, scissors with your partner, best 2 out of 3. I won the rock, paper, scissors. And they said, all right, who lost? Raise your hand. Everyone, the people that lost raised their hand. And then the coach said, his name was Mr. DeVries. I remember that. He was like, all right, you guys go sit on the wall. And then he was like, okay, everyone find a new partner. And so what they were doing was a tournament-style bracket, rock, paper, scissors. I met up with my next enemy. It was Ethan. Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh.
I won. I go to another person. It's a girl from my class. Rock, paper, scissors. I won. I was getting close. There was about 4 people on each side now. We got into groups of 2. Rock, paper, scissors. I won. It was me and Carter.
Wow.
It was me and Carter. Daniel got out at some point a while ago. He was on... The third graders and second graders were doing their own brackets, I should mention.
Yeah.
Me and Carter were the only second graders left. Rock, paper, scissors. I won. It was me versus a third grader. It was some girl. I've never met her. I don't even know her name. I don't remember her at all. I just remember it was a girl with blonde hair. Mr. DeVries, we get in the center. There's people surrounding us, like on the ground, obviously. They're all like cheering us on. And Mr. DeVries is doing the thing where we have our like he's like holding our hands to make sure we don't do anything preemptive and stuff, like an actual like hockey match, like before the puck drops. He's like standing there like an arm wrestling contest, like a professional arm contest. And he goes, all right, 3, 2, 1, rock, paper, scissors. I have rock, she has paper. I get out once. Rock, paper, scissors. We both hit rock. Rock, paper, scissors. Paper, paper. Rock, paper, scissors.
Oh my
Scissor,
God.
Scissors, paper. Me. It's tied. Sudden death. Rock, paper, scissors. She throws down paper, and I throw down scissors. And the room goes crazy. Mr. DeVries grabs my arm, flings it up in the air, and says, "We have a winner!" And I am just sitting there, looking around, like with a big grin on my face, like excitingly looking around as everyone's going, "Aiden, Aiden, Aiden, Aiden." And everyone's clapping and cheering and going, "Yeah!" And that was the peak of my fucking life, dude.
That sounds like it.
I won the second grade rock, paper, scissors championship. And I'm never going to ever live that down. And the thing is I lost the first round too. And since then, I pride myself on being good at rock, paper, scissors.
Yeah. Oh God, that sounds awesome.
It was pretty
I've never had an experience like that. I hope to one day, but
Maybe one day you will.
I do. Oh,
Abraham.
well. I just have my fond memory is that we were playing tag in gym class. You played gym with pool noodle. I actually have quite a few awesome tag moments in gym class in elementary school, but there was one where they would play music. It was freeze tag, and Kung Fu Fighting came on, so me and him, we just looked at each other, and we started doing Kung Fu poses. And, like, the taggers would stop and just stare at us. Like, they didn't even want to tag us. They just let us do our thing.
Damn.
That was so cool. And another thing that I did during tag was everybody would swing him sideways like a sword. Everybody would swing the pool noodle sideways. So I ran at a tagger, slid on my knees, ducked under the pool noodle. I felt so awesome.
Oh my god. I remember
That felt so awesome.
in karate, I used to be, so there was an awkward moment where I was not old enough to be able to compete with people in the adult league, but I was not young enough to compete fairly with the little kids. So I was just stuck with the little kids sometimes. So what I had my teacher taught me a trick, and he was like, "It's not legal during them things, but just by all means do it if you want to mess with the kids." So what I would do is whenever they'd go to kick me, I'd grab their legs, spin them around, and boop them on their back. And I just wrecked every little kid. And I did it on adults too. Me and one of my buddies used to do it on each other all the time. But this was like only a couple years, like this was like 4 or 5 years ago, so it's pretty fresh.
I remember karate sparring. I caught a kid's sidekick once and responded with my own sidekick, and I sent him flying backwards. He fell over it. That felt both mean but also awesome. And one time I was sparring an adult, and I accidentally Superman punched him in the head. Like he threw a punch, he threw a punch, and then I dodged it, and then jumped, did a Superman punch, hit him in the head on accident.
I saw a post talking about this dude whose brother was like in karate, but his mom just wouldn't let his brother continue it. So like years later, he asked his mom, "Hey mom, why wouldn't you let my brother continue karate?" And you know what the mom said? Deadass, she said, I saw some kind of darkness in him.
You see the darkness in me. Watch me play Gorn on VR.
Yeah, it was like Tai Lun from Kung Fu Panda.
It was my dark side. Anyway.
It was a nice episode, I think.
It was. Now you guys know our children's self, who
Yeah.
you'll never be able to meet in person because they're long dead.
Oh,
And-
they're way gone at this point.
They're gone. They're far gone.
I feel like at this point we could do a part 2 of this too. We could come back to this later. There's so
Probably.
much content for it.
Probably. There's a lot more that I have done as a child that... it's a fairly decent episode. Jack, why don't you hit us with a fact about yourself when we leave this leave this off.
Jack, when we say bye, you tell a story, but like a short one.
You tell a short story, yeah, but also be sure to do your normal thing where you insult the viewers because it's always funny.
Yeah. Insult them. Yeah, call them names.
Call them names like you do, because you do that because you're an angry little guy. as I said earlier.
Yeah, he'll
At
like
least
I
I
said,
think that was this episode.
he'll bite your ankles.
He will bite your
He'll
ankles.
bite your ankles.
Anyway, bye.
Bye guys.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Happy
See ya.
Monday.
Bye 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 bye.
Yeah.
I really wish Jack was here for this. He does things better. I'm gonna not do this anymore. Uh, I want you back, bro. I want you so bad. And we'll talk about the people you want bad next week if you choose so to join us. Until then, goodbye.